Okay, let's get into it. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Let's have a good day. So, really nothing going on. Nothing's really going on. We did sweep the previous day's low liquidity here. So, hopefully we can reclaim that and move higher. But I believe the overall market is just waiting for NVIDIA's earnings. That's pretty much what everyone's doing, just waiting for NVIDIA's earnings. So, really nothing going on. The reason I'm hands off in here, as we know, we're long biased, but reason I'm hands off is, right, we're just in this channel. Just in this channel. So, really nothing in there for me. At least for me, playing with zeros, I want to enter a high probability trade. So I avoid channels, but really nothing going on. Best I can say is, if we can stay, we seem to pull back. We got to bounce off this 595. If we can just reclaim this previous day low, I can see us moving higher. You definitely see us moving higher. Let's go here to the SPY. Same thing. You can see SPY reclaiming this 661. We set the previous day's low. So can um if this thing can reclaim the previous day low, yeah, if this can stay over the previous day's low and buyers to step up here and defend this thing, we could definitely just push this thing higher. But if we do, pretty much just an inside bar now, 3 days in a row, Tesla. So, like I said yesterday, Tesla, our 410 is really the key level to watch here. Something that I really like that's setting up here, and this is definitely going to be on my close watch. Something that I really like here is what do you notice during the pre-market? Our 40240 is being respected perfectly. So we didn't take out the previous day highs liquidity, but we are moving lower. But I mean, look at our 410. Maybe one sec. Look at our 410 and look at our key level 40240. So I'm very comfortable playing either one of these. If we get a break and retest under this 40240, it's also the break under the pre-market low. This thing can move lower, right? Unmitigated liquidity, so price should gravitate towards there and would be bearish buy. So Tesla looks solid. Tesla looks really solid. This is definitely on my close watch list. Um, I'm open to both sides. Open to both sides. But if we stay heavy, I'm definitely looking for a break and retest under 40240. Nothing on NVIDIA has earnings. Apple, we'll see. Like I said, it's valid to play long here on Apple, but I'm waiting for the deeper pullback here. Waiting for the deeper pullback there. And then AMD, AMD's been holding this 234.20 beautifully. So I'm really going to watch this. I love the confluence here. It's also the pre-market low. Well, this is the after hours low. I love the confluence there. Seeing this key level get respected on the dive. If we can get a pullback here, that's solid. And of course, we know I'm looking for the break and retest over 242.80. I know I broke this down on the daily. Let me go here. Just how this key level is being respected so well. I'd love to see that. We're bullish buyers, so definitely watching that. And then Palantir. Let's see what Palantir is doing. Like I said, we are bearish bias under here. So we'll see if we'll end up getting a pop and fade off of this. I will watch Apple too. Nice. So yeah, these are really on my close watch. It's going to be Tesla, Apple, and AMD. My main watch is really going to be Tesla and AMD. We have about 10 minutes here till market opens. So Tesla, I'm really loving just the way it looks right now. Just the way it looks. I mean, a lot of thin volume in here. We're pretty much sitting, eh, as of now, pretty much dead smack middle of the range. But I love that these two key levels of mines are being respected during the pre-market. I love that. That is no coincidence. So, break and retest over 410, right? We know a bullish bias if that occurs. If we want to stay heavy, a break and retest under here, first we can see if price will gravitate towards the previous day low, continue lower. So Tesla is one of these trades. The reason I like the setup is because we're pretty much waiting for it to come to us. And then, of course, if we're just sitting between 410 and 402, literally not going to do anything. And then AMD. So even AMD, for me, it's really two things here. Either we're going to pull back here to this 234.20 or a break and retest over 242.80. That's going to look super solid if that can set up. We'll see what these names want to do and how they want to move. Just because the overall market rate is sitting in a range now. Everything's just kind of waiting for NVIDIA earnings. So we'll see how that looks. And then Apple. So Apple's interesting here. I'm open to taking a long off this 267.10 just because it's in at the bottom of the range. So we'll see. If Apple wants to stay heavy, right, sell this and then reclaim it, I like that. But I kind of would prefer it to stay heavy to this 264.05. So I'll see what price does around here. But if I'm planning to pull back long, I'd rather just take it off of NVIDIA. I'm sorry, off of AMD compared to Apple, especially just like right off the gate, off this key level, because we still have an objective here to fill. We still have a gap fill, and we still have this retest on this key level that's needed. So, if this thing was to pull back deeper and we get stopped out, right, that's expected. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm thinking. But we know, this 267.10 has been defended very, very well by buyers. So we'll keep an eye out on this coming into open. Got about 2 minutes here till market opens. Spotting clear divergence on Apple compared to the overall market. And look at that, pretty much already back to the top of the range. So if we can get a break and retest over 271.40, I'm definitely looking at that. We are bullish bias on AMD, we know that, but since we're getting this pop during the pre-market, not really sitting near a key level. And Tesla, we are bearish bias on the same under 410. So also, we'll read the price action, looking for a pop and fade off of 410 too. I didn't really break that down thoroughly, but that's a very valid setup there. Pop and fade off of 410. Got about a minute here till market opens. So Tesla wants to stay heavy. By all means, I'm okay with that. I'm looking for a break and retest under 402.40 to the downside. About 30 seconds here. So main watch now is really Apple. Apple has so much relative strength right now compared to the market. Like I said, if we can reclaim this previous day low, it'd be an inside bar day, but we could expect a move higher. We are still bullish bias on this overall market. So let's see. Really nothing for me right now for Palantir. I'm sorry, AMD. Yeah, I'm looking at Apple right now. Okay, perfect. So Q's is back over the previous day low. That's exactly what you want to see. Bullish too. That's exactly what you want to see. I want to see some divergence here on Tesla compared to Q's. Very volatile open. Really nothing on Apple. $50 rejects. Okay, nice. If Q's can fuel Tesla lower, I'm open to it. Tesla's the only name I'm bearish bias on. Literally the only name. Okay. SPY is under 661.80 now. I'll need a little bit deeper of a pullback here on AMD. We know this 234.20 is solid. Look at that. Look at Qs, look at AMD. Like I said, I spotted that QQQ, NVIDIA, and AMD, those names are in sync. All right, so very volatile open here. I mean, this is a 15-minute candle. This thing just went from 598 up to 601 within a second. So just being patient here. Big wicks, big candles equals a lot of risk. So very volatile open. Nothing here on Apple anymore. It's just dead smack in the middle of the range. If I can get a deep enough pullback on AMD to 234.20, I do like that. Crazy rally here. So I don't know if it was just you guys, but my Forex factory would not load. Oh wait, never mind, it just loaded. Okay. Give me one sec. Today is Tuesday the 18th. Okay, no red or orange photo news. Okay, yeah. No red or orange photo news. Very volatile open, so we're just gonna be patient. Like I said, this is what you want to see on the keys. I mean, look at that. That's solid. That's exactly what you want to see. Super, super solid. Like I said, still an anti-bar day, but the buyers are still in control, especially if we reclaim this previous day low like we did and just moved higher. Well, now the Qs is retesting the previous low in the 2 minute. So that's exactly what you're seeing right now. Very volatile open. You can see that. Yeah, Qs and AMD is in sync. I'm not liking this price action on AMD. Let's see. It's very volatile. Yeah, I have to get out of that. I looked at my cons, they weren't moving. The cons were at 82%. So that's on me. I got out of that. Yeah, the IV is high right now on that. Yes. Sorry, folks. I had to get out of that. I didn't even take it out. I just paid fees on that. The average IV on that is typically 60. So I did not like that. So I'm really just watching Tesla until the IV can come down here. It's a super good shot, but high 80s is just a no-go. Yeah, IV is everything. So I got out of that. So I ended up getting a solid pop, and then I looked to my right, and the IV is sitting at 80, 83. So you can see here, I just paid fees, pretty much a break even. I should have looked at that prior to my entry. Why is the IV so high on that? One sec. Yeah, the IV is just super high. Let's see what Tesla looks like. Okay, 72. I know I'm short bias on Tesla. See, the reason I got out of that after I spotted the IV is because I know if this thing pulls back on me, it's gonna hurt. Even though it's holding, right? But still. So I should have looked at that prior to my entry anyway. That's crazy. I remember AMD. I felt like it wasn't too long ago. These cons used to cost like $3. Now it's like $800 at the money. AMD thinks it's Tesla now. Like you're tripping. It's crazy. Like I said during the pre-market, the setup that I love here on Tesla is if it stays in between these two, we're pretty much just hands off. We're just looking for our trade to come to us. Let me show you what I mean here. Like look at Tesla, right? 72%. Look at the IV on the right side. Look at Apple, IV, normal. And then look at AMD. That is crazy. I'm not messing with that. It's a good sell anyway, but I made a business decision there. It's like I'm not messing with that. Yeah, bro, it's just a super volatile day. Very volatile. Yeah. Of course, I'm gonna need some more displacement here on Tesla. Seems like I made a good decision anyway to get out of this on AMD. Solid. Like I know we're bullish bias. Everything happens for a reason. Because I looked at the IV and saw high 80s. I said, nope. I don't even care if this trade works out. I'm not playing with that. Super volatile open. Okay, nice. So the only thing I'm really looking at here is Tesla. I know I'm looking to short. I do want this deeper pullback on Apple. So for me, I see this as a good thing. All right, we're under 234 here now. For the sake of market structure, I kind of want us to reclaim that. How this candle closes on Tesla's kind of everything right now. So I don't want buyers to step up and let's see. Okay, yeah, that's solid. So I'm just gonna be patient here for the pullback, which I may not get. We'll see. I think Apple is strong for sure. If I can get a deep enough pullback on Apple, Apple's the only name I would really look to go long. So I'm gonna be patient here. If the market wants to just fall, then I'm gonna let it fall. I'm not gonna take anything. Yeah, if it's a crazy price action day, I'm just gonna be hands off. I'm just gonna be hands off because Tesla just ripped through this. Yeah, see the cues? All these things are in sync with the cues. That's the only thing. So today on it, yeah, it's just a lot going on right now. And one thing I'm spotting on Tesla, there's really no clean candles. There's no clean price action. It's a very volatile open. Yeah, I'm fine just doing nothing today. So I'm not really getting a solid read here. Let's see. Super volatile. You can stay heavy, sure. Super volatile. I'm just trying to be patient. If this thing could fall under the lower day, sure. Apple's heavy. There we go. There we go. There we go. Give me another little pop. There we go. Nice, nice. Super volatile open, bro. I'm not messing with that. Not messing with it. Now, for those who are wondering, why did I possibly sell? It's because one, this crap is so volatile, but Q's is approaching its support that it's keep bouncing off of. It just keeps bouncing off of this. Such a volatile open. I just wanted that lower day break. Those columns move fairly well. Yeah, those columns move fairly well. Yeah, bro, I'm not messing with that. Because there's really no name right now that has like divergence compared to to the Qs. Everything that Qs is doing, every other name is doing. I'm not gonna lie, this is a very weird open, very weird open. Yeah, I'm gonna call it here. Solid day. Couldn't really manage these how I wanted to. This was a business decision. I'm very happy I got out this trade on AMD. The only reason I got out that trade is because the IV was sitting at like 80. I don't even know why it's sitting so high. Just a morning downside type day. So you can kind of expect buyers to step up here. That's crazy. Like, look at this candle. Look at that candle, bro. This wick went all the way. It's wild. Yeah, 2 days in a row where like I've played a momentum play and just not having any swing highs or swing lows to like really gravitate towards. Today I waited for that break through the lower day though. I sat in that. I didn't care, but crazy, crazy open. See. Yeah, market's gone right now. It's heavy. It's always easy to make money to the downside, so we'll see. But you can see, right? Like None of these names have clear divergence. Everything is pretty much in sync with the market. Literally everything's in sync. I entered like right here, reading that, just to have a super tight stop loss. Yeah, I'm happy with really how I played Tesla. Like I understood. I was playing like a momentum play there. Again, once again, playing a momentum play there. The overall market, what made that a little difficult, and it was very difficult, was there was really no divergence on this name compared to Q's. So it was like whatever Q's was doing, Tesla was doing. So I'm watching Q's come into the bounce of its support level. And I did not want to be in Tesla and this thing bounces with me. And then I'm already in the trade while it's making a new low of day. So that was just like a conservative play there. I'm looking at this. Like this thing ended up breaking through the lower day. We pushed down and then we come all the way back up, which is crazy. I just wanted to wait for this lower day break. So yeah, I'm happy the way I played that. This is what I want though on Tesla. I mean, we're kind of back in the mix. So once again, it's like 2 days in a row on Tesla. Yeah, this looks good. See, look at Apple. We know Apple has relative strength. Right now, this pullback is just the overall market so strong. It's just causing Apple to do the same thing. But to even see buyers try and attempt to get back over this, right? But we saw since market open from the dot, everything has just been very wicky, very volatile. Um, Look at AMD. It's crazy. Like this changes a lot. We'll see. Look at AMD, bro. This thing's gone. Now, as soon as we get under here, right, this is the breaker structure level. I'm bearish bias, and something I've been looking for. I mean, we got a lot of time till we get there. I mean, a lot of time, but we cannot forget this. That's over a $30 gap play. I remember this like yesterday. So many people made a lot of money on this random gap, which is crazy to the upside. So now this is a breaker structure here, technically for AMD. We get that. You can see there's nothing in this way to the downside. This is pretty much our last defense. Right? That's our last defense. So 2 Fridays ago, we saw that happen, pull back, tested this, and this gap all the way up to the top of the range. That's a key level. It's a breaker structure. Let's go here on the weekly, right? So as soon as you fall under this, there's really nothing in its way. I mean, there is nothing in its way. There's nothing in its way to the downside. So I'm curious here. Very, very curious. Um, let's see. No, Tesla was very volatile. Very, very volatile. This thing's still moving lower though. Super solid. It was hard to get a read on that with the overall cues as well. At least for me, it was really hard to get a read on that. We were able to sit within a drawback because we were under our forward two, which means our thesis is still valid. Not getting out of that trade. We're able to catch that flush, that break through the lower day. Saw buyers start to step up. So no regrets with that one. That was a tough trade, at least for me. I know if I made it look smooth, sure, but that was actually a tough trade. Just look at that, crazy. But like I said, all these names are in sync with the cues in the market. There's like no divergence here. There's no divergence at all, except for Apple, a little bit. Except for Apple, a little bit. So yeah, always faster to pretty much make money to the downside. I mean, so far, really just 2 days, I've already made more than half of what I made last week. So we still got 3 days um, to really see what can happen. Very curious, but solid day. Once again, the first week of this month, I took Tesla 2 days in a row, and then once again took Tesla, 2 days in a row. So looks super solid for sure. Let's just keep this momentum going. AMD, very happy I got out of that, but that was a business decision. That was a business decision, and the reason for that being is because the IV was high. So everything happens for a reason. I'm glad that I looked at that because I would have sat in that, like on the pullback and everything. I would have had to sit in that. But the reason I got out because of the high IV is because I know once that thing doesn't go in my favor, the loss is going to be bigger than what it actually should be, and that's exactly why we don't even touch um, names on earnings. That's exactly why we stay away from names on earnings. So it's a very heavy day, straight downside, crazy. The only names we really got to break and retest on really was Tesla. It was really Tesla. If this was hard for you to read, like I don't blame you, because we ended up ripping through this. We ripped through this. So I was just being a little bit patient, but this was a hard read, right? You got the break, yeah, you got the retest, but we pushed all the way back up, to 403. So pretty much $1 over our key level that we're looking to risk off of. So if you skip this trade, you can't even beat yourself up. Like it was a tough read. It was a tough read. The thing was just bouncing and doing everything that the cues were. So base head and just straight downside here on Apple. Nice break, upward displacement, I guess. Retest. There's a last line of defense here on AMD. Either this is going to be the best dip buy ever that you can get, or we're going to give this up and we're bearish bias. One or the other. One or the other. Look how quick these things recover. It's like, man, I hope my trade made sense on Tesla. I just think just went from 394 up to 390. Yeah, look how quick this recovers. Yeah, I'm not messing with that. I understood the conditions. I was playing Tesla. That's the thing, right? Just like yesterday and today, it's a little bit more difficult when you're sitting in a trade as it's making a new high of day and low of day. And that's why some people scale out automatically at the higher day or lower day because, well, one, you can get a bounce, and two, you know a pullback is coming. So the reason I like a good breakout and retest when you get that proper displacement is because now I have a swing high or swing low that price is going to gravitate towards because it's intraday liquidity. I hope that makes sense. So I'm not really a fan of sitting in a trade as it's making a new high of day or a new low of day because this thing can pull back at any moment. And then, right, you basically, let's say it pulls back on that low of day bounce that you're already in. It may not come back to that, right? It may not come back. So managing trades for me are a little different based on the conditions. But golly, I mean, look at this. Look at this. 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of straight downside. And within this 1 5 minute candle, it pretty much just covered entire 20 minutes of downside. That's a strong buy right there. That's crazy. AMD, we'll see here. Like I said, AMD, this is either going to be the biggest A plus long opportunity that you just caught the dip, my friend, or it's just going to give it up. But I hope that makes sense. So that's the only downside. Like the last 2 days in a row on Tesla, I've just been in a trade as just making a new high of day and a new low of day. So like the entries have been precise and whatnot. but I'm just riding the momentum on those. Look how strong these buyers are stepping up here. We just covered 20 minutes worth of candles within pretty much just one 5 minute candle. AMD on the dot. AMD on the dot. We'll see. Give me one sec. Just look at AMD, bro. Just on the dot. This is a 15 minute. Like I said, this is either going to be the best dip buy. You know, the dip is your best friend, as you hear me say, or it's going to give this up. I zoomed out here. I showed you how strong buyers have been defending this. This is our last line of defense. This is really our last line of defense. So the price action you're seeing right now is what you would want to see here on AMD. That's crazy. That's a 15-minute candle. So that big wick, those are aggressive buyers stepping in. Very aggressive. Look at that. Very aggressive. Even the 15-minute here on Tesla, right? We'll see. If this thing gets back over the previous day low, that's not what I would want to see on Tesla. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had one of these mornings. I had to lock in, really. had to had to focus up, had to lock in. There's just so much going on at once. Like I was just trying to read so much stuff. My amateur mistake that I made today, and I'm gonna journal that, is I did not look at the IV prior to making my buy. And something I've said in the past is, picking the right contracts and everything, that's more than half the trade, to be honest. That's more than half the trade. So seeing the IV on a name like AMD over 80, I'm like, definitely not. Definitely not. And the crazy thing about AMD right now, uh, is here's my thing on it. And keep in mind, this is just me. The one thing that I don't like about it is like, bro, these contracts are acting like Tesla prices, but AMD does not move like Tesla on the underline. So for me, and look, since I got out that trade, go look at the IV at the beginning of the video, and now it's at 86. That is crazy. Now it's at 86. When I got in, it was like at 82. Look at the average. It's about 67, right? So that was like a no-brainer for me. That's the only mistake I really feel like I made. But nevertheless, these contracts are just way too expensive to play on a name like this that doesn't move that well on the underline. I hope that makes sense. See, Tesla, I don't mind how expensive Tesla is because Tesla's going to move maybe $4 to $5 in a single candle, right? We all know you can catch a $5 move on Tesla in one candle and you're going to get paid for it. So, but a name like AMD, right? That's just, I wouldn't even mess with that. So, yeah, coming into tomorrow, it's really a different game plan just on AMD. Like, it all depends on really the IV now. Like, look at it, it's still increasing. It's at 88. I'm not messing with that. See Apple's IV, like 35. I know for a fact the average on Apple's like low 30s, but still that's nothing that's like out of the world. Like that's nothing that's like, oof, I can't touch that. Tesla, right? IVs. This is pretty normal for Tesla, to be honest. Anything like mid to high 80s, I'm kind of hands off. But this is pretty normal for Tesla. Okay, so Tesla did stay under the previous day low, which is solid. Give me a sec. Let's see what Palantir did. All right, we know we're, yeah, it's just a volatile open. Look at those wicks on the 15. That's what I mean. Like, if you didn't catch Tesla today on the break and retest under that, don't beat yourself up because that's just a hard read. Like, look at the retest here on Palantir under our 169. Yeah, it did set up, but look at this candle, right? That's a hard candle to get an entry on, and then it's followed up by one of these, right? It ended up, obviously, we stayed heavy. And then keep in mind, right, on the retest, you're getting a lower day bounce on this retest, right? This is a lower day. Buyers end up holding here, right? Buyers end up holding here. You get it's just, yeah, I hope that makes sense. It was honestly a very volatile, tough morning. Very volatile, tough morning. So if today was a cash day for you, then that is fine. Hmm. Yeah, even though it's a morning downside, I mean, still bullish bias on this market until we break structure. Still bullish bias on this market until we break structure. part of me though, I mean, I really don't care. Like my long-term portfolio, I mean, it's long-term. Like I'm 25, so I don't really care about that. But a part of me, like, man, if we can, I don't care if the market just wants to turn into being bearish. I really don't care. As long as we're just not in a channel, that's fine by me. Like we've been, you know, and these are times where, I highly recommend, and this is something I've learned, but I recommend like stay off of social media because all of social media is going to be like the crash is here. I was looking at it yesterday. Just everyone, it's here. Wait till the video earnings comes out, the crash, and it's just like to me, it's so ironic when it's like you hear crickets, right? Like you hear crickets when we have a market that looks like to keep in mind this is the weekly time frame, right? This is a weekly time frame. These are weekly candles. That is so wild to me, right? I mean, look at this. You don't hear anything on the news, nothing at all. Like when you see that, we remember this. It was quickly followed up by this. And then, right, we've just been sitting in the channel up here. This is normal. This is 100% normal. These are weekly candles. I can't stress that enough. So we're trending on the weekly time frame. It's like, bro, this is finally, if anything, finally, this is kind of expected. And then, right, on the weekly, if you really look at it, I mean, we got a long way to go, right? We got a long way to go if it really came to like, okay, now we've really broken structure on the weekly. So 100% normal. But if anything, like I kind of don't care as long as we're out of a channel and we can start getting our setups. By all means, that's that is fine with me. Like this is the low that Apple's made on the weekly. Uh, I think AMD might give this up. We'll see. It's trying to hold it. It's definitely trying to hold it. Just look how crazy. Like we pushed to 592 and we just get a crazy bounce back up to 595. And keep in mind, we're talking about Qs here, Qs and SPY. And then this thing is just instantly followed up by just about to push through the lower day again. So very volatile open today. Very volatile open. Let's see, 617. I'll stay here till 6:30 for you guys. Yeah, it's a little tough to manage that on Tesla, at least for me. Like reason for that being, it's because give me one sec. Let me explain this a little bit. At least what I was thinking, right? I just want to explain to you. Like when I got in on this trade, like I'm entering in these two candles, right? So it's kind of like just sitting in here, but this is me just trusting my level in my system. I understand that as long as I'm under 402.40, my thesis is correct, but I have to be very patient. You guys saw that, right? I was really trying to read this, and then when I saw sellers take over a little bit more, I took my shot, and stop loss is probably like right above this green candle here. And then I wanted to push to the lower day. We ended up coming to the lower day. We pushed back up, retested this level again. We fell under the lower day, and then give me one sec. We fell under the lower day, and then we instantly popped back up above it. I was able to sell into like this little momentum push to the downside, but there was just a lot going on there. A lot going on. So you can see Q's just keeps like just bouncing at this lower day. This is a 15-minute candle. Like, man, it's unreal. Okay, so we're starting to see buyers defend this 225. Like I said, this is really the last line of defense here on AMD. This is the last line of defense. As long as we're above this, we're bullish bias. But you can see, right, these bounces that you see on these tech names is, I mean, look what Q's is doing. There's this lower day. So, like I said, if you were patient and you understood that you're bullish bias on this overall market and you were able to catch this, I mean, that's really the A plus dip buy. It's really the A plus dip buy. Yeah, it's a crazy market open today. A market session. Yeah, my trade's all this tripping, so be it. Look at Apple. We know we're bullish bias on Apple. Unfortunately, I still wanted this. We still have like a gap fill under here to fill. AMD looks really, really good on the 15-minute, just on this pullback long. AMD looks really good. That's really defending this 225. Straight up equals straight down. It's no coincidence, right? I mean, we just zoomed out on the daily before we got here. And like, look at this. 1, 2, 3. That's a strong level. That is a strong level. Very strong level there. Look at that. That is nice. That's why you don't really chase the morning downside, just because the overall market is still bullish, right? The overall market is still bullish. The only reason I shorted Tesla is because we are bearish bias on this name. Tesla's the only name I'm bearish bias on as long as it's under 410. So this is really what I'm trying to teach you folks, like be with the overall market, right? Understand the higher time frame. Like I said, whenever we get big pullbacks, the only thing I'm thinking to myself, if I know we're trending or have a bias, is it's just an opportunity, a pullback opportunity. That's all. That's how I look at it, right? So Apple failed our key level. What do we do and reclaim it? Fuel that move higher. So we know we're bullish bias on Apple. Okay, so Tesla has officially reclaimed, at least for now, its previous day low, right? And then plan your trade your plan. Like I said, I'm coming into the market. If we're sitting in between 410 and 402, I'm not doing anything. If I get a break and retest under 402, I'm taking my shot. That's exactly what we did. I wish the conditions were a little bit cleaner, but right today really just required patience. Like this was a really hard read. That was a really hard read, and then I thought I was going to get stopped out instantly. We pulled all the way back right here. We pulled all the way back. I was in like here. We got that pop, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I just took a short. I don't really have any targets below. I'm shorting also into the previous day low. I'm understanding that. Maybe this thing just popped on me. Like maybe I'll just get stopped out. And it looked like we did, but look how respected our 402 did. Like it got respected very, very well. And then we just pretty much ended up flushing. But you can see this is the previous day low. Um, we were battling here a little bit. We were flirting with this before we finally gave it up. We were flirting with this before we gave it up. So yeah, like really not the best price action day. God honest truth on a lot of these names. Yesterday was a clean day on Tesla, but like I said, 2 days in a row, I really just played momentum. I really just played the momentum. Like Tesla's the only name that I'm bearish bias now. The only name I'm bearish bias. You want to start to see AMD really hold this structure now. We can trend higher. Like I said, if you caught this, you for sure caught the. I mean, that's the best dip. That's the best dip buy. I'll zoom here on the daily. I just broke this down, right? Because what did we do last time? Last time we came all the way back down to this key level, and that thing pushed it back up to the top of this range. So we are bullish bias on this name as long as we're above 225. I love how respected it is. I love that it's a whole number, makes it a stronger level. It's solid. If this thing can like hold structure and start to trend higher, that looks really, really good. Look at Apple. Even if you played the break and retest, reclaim here, it's a Tuesday, you're not really worried about theta, super solid. Now you're in at the bottom of this range before we get back to the top of this range. I had this a very long time ago, which was you never want to chase the morning downside. I promise you, if you chase the morning downside, you're going to get burned more than you will win. And a lot of traders, like I used to be there, you see the entire market just straight downside, and that FOMO kicks in. Or, you already know in the back of your head, you hear people say it's easier to make money on the way down than it is on the way up. What's the saying? Elevator down, stair step up. So, that FOMO kicks in, but you get burned more than you win. So what I'm trying to teach you is, hey, you come into the day and you know your long bias and the name is trending on the higher time frame and we open heavy, that's fine. You just wait. You wait for a key level to approach and read the price action. 2 days in a row, we first started the market open with a squeeze, with a squeeze to the downside, and then those retail traders get trapped, fuels that move higher. So look at AMD. Like this is right off the pre-market plan. I said even if we stay heavy, a long off of 225 is very valid. As long as we're above 225, we're bullish bias, right? Plan your trade your plan. So I never once looked to short AMD. You actually saw I took a long position. You know you're not looking to short Apple. You're looking for pullback long opportunities. And if the market wants to stay heavy, hands off, right? Remember, cash is a position. Not trading is still trading in proper risk management. The only name I took a short on, which was right off the pre-market plan, overall, is Tesla. Because now we are bearish bias on the higher time frame on Tesla. Um, so I hope all this is starting to make sense, right? How to come into the market and just be at ease, be relaxed, right? Hold your water. So it takes, I said it in the past, it takes a lot of pressure off of you when you know you have a bias. You come into the day, and if things are going against your pre-market plan, you're just not looking to take a trade. It's really that simple. I don't come into the market looking for trades, right? I'll let them come to me. So I really hope that makes sense. The only, the only, I would say tricky thing, at least the last 2 days on Tesla and Qs, is it's really been a lack of divergence, which is pretty interesting to see here. Because as we know, Tesla can really do his own thing. Yesterday, I took a long position as the market started to pull back, but when I got into that trade, then there was starting to be some divergence. But other than that, pretty much been identical. I mean, when you look at all three of these names to an extent, right, there's nothing that really stands out too much regarding divergence. You know what I mean? If you just look at these three names. So, yeah, like your long bias here on Apple. Honestly, for a small account, just a little side note, I think Apple is like really amazing to trade for a small account, just because it doesn't move that fast and aggressive on the underlying. So, your stop loss on Apple is never really going to be that big, right? You can easily be down 15, 20% on Tesla. You got to have a big stop loss to be down on Apple, right? Like a big stop loss. So Apple's honestly one of my favorite names to trade, like small account friendly. Look at Apple. Beautiful. Let's go here on a daily. AMD's doing his job, holding that 225. We've seen this before. This is nothing new. We've seen this, what was this, 2 Fridays ago? Yeah, what was this, 11/7? So we've seen this before. Like this was a bearish candle, and then it ended up closing green as a hammer stick candle. History likes to repeat itself, right? Or it could just be one of these again. But we can see 225 doing its job. Like I said, that's really the last line of defense. So buyers are really trying to hold this thing up. Really, really trying. Apple. Look at Apple, right? This is nothing new. I mean, it's been sitting in this channel. Literally did the same thing yesterday, actually. Pretty much identical day. It's the inside bar day. It's holding this 267.10. Once again, we're still waiting for like this deep enough pullback to this 264.05. But look at Apple. It's doing its job. See how our thesis was pretty much correct here on Tesla? Because you can start to see the recovery here in the break of structure, on AMD and Apple. You can see Tesla is moving lower. It is making lower lows. So we'll see. Tesla might just chop around a little bit. We opened up at 408, pushed all the way down to 393. So it's already had a pretty decent move on the intraday. Mm, okay, well, it is 7:30 for me. I'm gonna call it here. We uh we made it out alive. Another solid day. You can see Tesla's like staying under this previous day low. This 398.74, this is the previous day low. So you can see Tesla staying under that. That's what you want to see, honestly, if you're in a short position. But I hope this makes sense, right? This was just right off our pre-market plan. Like I said, this was a tough trade. That was a very tough trade for me. I really had to read this, be patient, understand like, okay, the condition. So if this thing wants to wick around, I can't get out of this trade until we get a candle closure above this. This is exactly what you want to see here on AMD. This is exactly what you want to see here on Apple. But this is a really tough trade. Tough trade. We managed, we pulled through. It was a dub. Tough to like really hold that with the conditions, but still very happy with the trade. We planned our trade, traded our plan. So gonna call it here. Let's see. Yeah, solid day. Like I said, I paid fees here on AMD. Like when I sold for this, I think I was up or down like 1% or like break even, something like that. But we shall see. You guys know I love Tesla. So if Tesla can just keep, if Tesla can stay under 410, like I'm taking my shots on it only because Like under 410, we're no longer in a channel, right? Like under 410, we're no longer in a channel. So I'll take this any day. Like I said, we're still waiting for a lot of this. That's a lot of thin volume. I'll cross this bridge when I get there and like I'll explain it a little bit more thoroughly. But if or when, Tesla wants to, get back down here, give me one sec, gets back like down here, then I'm just going to be neutral. Like this has a little bit more range compared to how compressed price was up here. So as soon as we get down here, like based off my key levels, and I'll draw them out once we get there, now I'm open to going long and going short on Tesla. It all just varies. What just went off? Microsoft. Damn, I haven't touched Microsoft in so long. See, just been patient. Like I understood, hey, Microsoft, look how beautiful the price action was. It was trending higher. Keep in mind, like I'm showing you, this is the weekly time frame. So I'm like, okay, we're sitting sideways on the weekly. I don't want to touch that. We trend higher, consolidation. What are we waiting for? Next leg higher, next leg lower. So now, right, I can start to look at this because look how clean the price action was here. Look how clean that was. And that's the weekly time frame, right? We only have one down close candle straight upside on the weekly. So this is what I want to see, right? Trend higher, consolidation, next leg lower. Okay, cool. Now we can say, all right, Microsoft's back in play. What are some setups I can look for? Right? Like I didn't want to be in that. This is just sideways action. Double top. We pushed up here. What did that lead to? Downside. We pushed up here. What did that lead to? Downside. Right? Trying to really educate you on how to read market structure, context, and every trade you enter is a high probability setup. Let's see. Super solid, but yeah, gonna call it here. Let's keep this momentum going. Finally took a short position. I finally took a short position. Very happy with the performance. Um, let's see. Yeah, like I said, I was like down 1% on this. So I had to get out of this because I'm like, yeah, I'm not messing around with this IV. I knew I remembered this correctly. So I was down like 1%. Got out. What did I end up paying in fees? Like 40 bucks. Good sell though. Very good sell. So yeah, let's keep this momentum going. Um, we got 3 days left. Hopefully this market keeps giving us opportunities. Hopefully Tesla keeps giving us opportunities. Next week, gonna be a little bit slower, right? It's Thanksgiving next week, so we understand that. What else? We got Nvidia earnings tomorrow, so we'll see what the price action looks like tomorrow, because all eyes are glued on Nvidia. So we'll see what that looks like. Yeah, that'll do it. Actually, give me one sec. Sorry, guys. Is it tomorrow? Or is it today? Nvidia holding key levels. Love to see it. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. It is tomorrow. It's tomorrow after, yeah, after market close. So we'll see. See. See, look at the IV here. This is why you don't touch names on earnings. Because yeah, you can trade it, but if you get a move in your favor, like a big move, you're only going to be up like 2%. You know what I mean? So I really hope that makes sense. Yeah. All right, yeah, definitely gonna call it here. Hope you guys were able to learn something. Once again, appreciate the love, support. Let's keep this momentum going. Uh, Remember, not trading is still trading, and not trading is still proper risk management, right? Don't go into the day looking for every setup. Don't go into the day and like, okay, I'm gonna automatically mark out the pre-market high, the pre-market low, the 5 minute high, the 5 minute low. Like when you do that, you're looking for setups, whether you know it or not. I'm gonna mark out the 15-minute high, the 15-minute low. Like you're forcing setups. To each their own. Like I've said, there's no right or wrong way of trading. There's no right or wrong way of trading. But you do want to break the habit of like you don't want to come into the market looking for trades. That's a very big difference, right? Looking for a trade and letting a trade come to you, very big difference. Very, very big difference. So hope this helps. Appreciate you guys. I will see you tomorrow.